For our flight today, both the departing and arriving airports will both be Class Delta airports. For our departing airport, KMYF, or Montgomery Gibbs Airfield. Looking at the airport diagram, there are quite a few factors we want to note. For one, we want to go ahead and make note of ATIS 126.9. We have two different frequencies that we can contact the tower on, 119.2 and 125.7. Generally, the 119.2 is for the smaller runway. 28 left is what they departure on typically, and the 125.7 is for runway 28 right, which they will also use, and what we will more than likely be using for a eastward departure. Typically, they will have you depart from 28 right if you're traveling to the east, and then you'll turn crosswind and then into a right downwind, and then you can exit out from there. In addition, some other things we want to note are the runway lengths. You can see the runway 28 right is the much larger runway at 4,600 feet, while the 28 left is the shorter runway at 3,400 feet. Runway 5 and 23 are generally not in use at the airport, though occasionally when winds favor it, they will direct traffic to runway 23. For the flight today, we will be taxiing via Kilo, and we'll hold short at Gulf. From there, we'll contact Montgomery ground for taxi instructions, though we can expect to be taxied via Golf Hotel and either Bravo or Golf Hotel and Alpha for the more likely course to depart runway 28 right. One more very important thing to note is the field elevation. The field elevation here at Montgomery Gibbs is 427 feet, so the traffic pattern will be 1,400 feet for this airport. Now taking a look at the airport diagram for our arriving airport, Romona, KRNM. You can see this is a much simpler airport. There's just one runway, runway 27 and 6. Generally speaking, we will land on runway 27. As far as taxiing goes, there's just Alpha. So it makes it pretty straightforward for taxiing. Some of the things we'll want to note is the field elevation. We're at a little bit higher elevation, basically 1,400 feet. So we'll enter the traffic pattern at 2,400 feet. Some of the ATIS codes and ground codes we want to note are right here. The ATIS is going to be on 132.025. The tower is going to be 119.875, and then we'll contact ground on 121.65. The length of the runway here is 5,000 feet, so there's plenty of runway for us to land. So as mentioned, for this flight, we were going to stay out of the Bravo. We were going to do this by navigating under the shelves of the Bravo. We're going to have to take careful note of where the floor of the Bravo starts at many different sections along this route. So we'll just zoom in here and we'll first take a look at the overall route. We're going to be flying VFR, so we've picked out lots of different visual landmarks to navigate by. So after we are departing Montgomery Gibbs into a right downwind, more than likely, we're going then to head straight for what's called Cowles Mountain. It's a nice visual landmark. When we climb up and over Cowles Mountain, we're going to be able to see Gillespie Airfield, which we're going to fly directly over. We'll stay outside of their airspace by staying above it. When we pass Gillespie Airfield, we'll then be shooting for our next visual landmark, which is going to be Lake Jennings. When we see Lake Jennings, we will directly turn a northward heading, and we will fly beneath the shelf of the Bravo to San Barona Casino. Another visual landmark that we're not going to fly directly to is going to be San Vicente Island. It's this little island here that's within this lake, but what we're going to primarily do is just make sure that when we see this body of water, we're going to stay to the right of it, just to indicate that we are staying clear of this Bravo shelf that starts at 3,200 feet in this area. With keeping that in mind, if we keep San Vicente Island on our left and we fly directly to the casino, from there we're going to turn slightly northwestward and we're going to fly directly to Romona Airfield. Now I want to go ahead and look at the elevations that we're going to choose to cruise at. We're pretty much going to climb and cruise to about 3,500 feet for this entire flight. When we depart Montgomery Gibbs airspace ends at 2,900 feet. So we're going to climb to 3,500 feet. We may be able to actually exit their airspace before we get to Cowles Mountain, but we'll continue to climb from there until we are above it. You can see the Cowles Mountain, the highest elevation we need to worry about is right at about 1,600 feet. So if we're climbing to 35, we should have plenty of room to clear it. The only other thing we want to note is while we are in this general area, we are still under the Bravo, but the Bravo shelf that we are operating under starts at 4,800 feet. So if we're at 3,500 feet, we are A-OK. Assuming we get to 3,500 feet for cruising here, we'll be able to traverse over the Gillespie Airfield. Their underlying delta, as you can see here in this dashed blue circle, is from floor up to 2,400 feet. So if we're at 35, we are well above their airspace, while at the same time being below the Bravo, which again starts at 4,800 feet. So we'll cruise at 3,500 feet through here. When we get to Lake Jennings, looking around here, I don't see anything that is around 3,500 feet. It seems the highest elevation is still going to be around 2,500 feet here for the El Cajon Mountain, but we're going to fly to the west of it, and but even so, we will be above it by 1,000 feet. And then when we see the casino, we'll go ahead and contact tower, and we'll want to start descending pretty much right as we're starting to enter their airspace once we get clearance. All right, so now we're in Microsoft Flight Simulator, and we have the route plotted up inside of the game. In case you all are not sure how to show all of the airspace like we have here, as well as the visual landmarks and nav aids, you go down here to open filters, and by default the map looks like this. But if you turn on airspace, you turn on nav aids, fixed position reports, you can see a lot of these nav aids that we will actually fly by. So as you can see, this route looks very similar to what we were visualizing in ForeFlight earlier. The last thing we need to do is cover our nav log. This entire trip should be about 13 minutes. It's 24 nautical miles, and it should be using about 3.3 gallons of fuel and air and about 1.2 to taxi. So let's get into the simulator. All right, we're in the game, so let's go ahead and get started. Let's get this fired up. Let's go ahead and pull up our checklist. So the pre-flight inspection is complete. We'll go ahead and get the engine start checklist going. So seatbelts, shoulder harnesses are on, check. Carb heat is off, check. Fuel valve selector is on both, check. Throttle, we're gonna open at 1/8. Master switch coming on. Circuit breakers all look good. Beacon light is coming on. Mixture is going full rich. Primer, we haven't started today, so let's give it 2 squirts. 1, 2. Seal clear prop. Clear prop. All right, we're on the brakes. And both. Cool, we'll go back to 800 RPM. Oil pressure is in the green. Vacuum is in the green. All right, we're good there. Check. Flaps. We just want to make sure they're up. So flaps are indeed up. Looking good there. Ammeter is positive. All right. Mixture will lean for taxi. All right, cool. Engine gauges are good. Next thing is avionics. Turning them on. Looks good. We're going to go ahead and turn on our nav light. In our ADS-B transponder, we're going to go to alt. All right, we're good there. Let's let this Garmin boot up. Cool. All right, we need to go ahead and get our radios set. So for our radios, we said we're gonna have to first talk to ground. We're gonna get that on 118.225. So look up here, we'll get 118. There goes our GPS. You can see, because we put the flight path in the game, we're gonna have it on the GPS with that purple or that magenta line. All right, so 118.225, and then we'll go ahead and get ground on standby. So we're gonna speak to more than likely 125.7. So 125.7. So we have tower and ground. And then we're gonna go ahead on the secondary radios on COM 2. Let's go ahead and get the ATIS in. So the ATIS for Montgomery Gibbs is 126.9. 126.9. All right. We'll flip-flop that over to the main channel. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and explain something that we're going to do. So in the game, we're flying under custom weather. So when you hear me talk to air traffic control, we're going to say we have information Zulu no matter what. But we're going to go ahead and go through the practice of getting the ATIS like we would if we were really flying, and taking note of what the ATIS is at the time of flight. So let's go ahead and let's do that. So we have on comms 2 the ATIS. So we're going to go up here and turn on comms 2 and listen for it.
Montgomery Airport information Victor 230.
Information Victor.
Line 259er at 12. Visibility 9er. Sky condition ceiling 4,400 feet broken.
All right.
Temperature 15. Dew point 13. Altimeter 29.9er2. ILS runway 28 right and visual runway 28 left and use.
9er2.
Landing and departing runway 23. VFR aircraft say direction of flight. All aircraft read back hold short instructions. Advise control. Montgomery Air.
All right, so that makes sense. 299er2, and we see that we are just at 4,200 feet, which is the airport elevation, so that we would expect that to be correct. So we are all good there. So we have ground queued up on comm 1, and we have the tower in standby, so we're good there. So we can continue with the checklist. So we have the ATIS, we have the altimeter, and taxi brief, brakes, ready to test the brakes. So make sure the parking brake's not on. Nope. All right, we'll leave that out of the way. All right, my brakes are good. Now that the parking brake is done, we'll go ahead and taxi for departure. So I'm just gonna taxi right around this guy. Try not to hit him with the wing. So we should be able to see the tower over there, so we can. Montgomery ground, Cessna 733 Yankee Victor at Kilo, holding short of Golf, requesting taxi for departure to the east with information Zulu 3 Yankee Victor.
Number 733 Yankee Victor, Montgomery ground, runway 28 right, taxi via Golf Hotel Alpha.
28 right, taxi via Golf Hotel Alpha, 3 Yankee Victor. Clear to our left, clear to our right. Not really on center line, are we? Ooh, I think that was a issue with the game. All right, we're going to do our run up over here in this little run up area next to the runway. So we'll want to use all the available area in case anybody comes behind us. So we want to go over here and turn and we'll straighten out. All right, ready for the run up checklist. So fuel selector is on both. Check. Flight instruments look good. We have airspeed indicator is set. Wings are flat and level here. Our altimeter is set. Wings are flat and level on the turn coordinator. We have our heading set. Vertical airspeed indicator is 0 as expected. All right, flight controls. Let's do the box. Up, down, up. All right, look good. We're gonna cheat here and look at the rudders. All right, rudders are good. So flight controls free and correct. Elevator trim is set. All right, mixture we're going full rich. Throttle will go to 1700. We're on the brakes. First, we're going to check our carb heat. All right, good RPM drop. Check the left mag. Both. Right mag. All right, the drop looked the same. That's good. Both. Our vacuum is good. All right. Run up's good. We'll go back to 800. And the ammeter is positive down there, so that's good too. All right, engine gauges are in the green. Throttle back to 800. We'll lean again for taxi, so we don't know how long we'll be sitting here. Our comm radios are set. We have
Romona Tower, 542
ground.
Tango,
We'll switch over to
clear
tower.
runway 9 at Alpha 3.
Number 542 Tango, taxi to parking via Alpha, good day.
Taxi to parking via Alpha, good day, and thank you for your help.
Our doors and windows are latched. Our takeoff brief is complete. Note the time. And we have strobes on and landing lights on for takeoff. And taxi lights are coming off once we get clearance. All right. So we can switch over to our map and we are good to go once we contact the tower. So let's switch over. All right, there we go. Montgomery Tower, Cessna 733 Yankee Victor, holding short of runway 28 right, ready for departure. To the east, 3 Yankee Victor.
Number 733 Yankee Victor, Montgomery Tower, make a left downwind departure, runway 28 right, cleared for takeoff.
Left downwind departure, 28 right, clear for takeoff, 3 Yankee Victor. All right, little different. We have a left downwind departure, so let's just keep that in mind. We're gonna go ahead and cross the runway since we have clearance. We're gonna make sure our mixture is full rich. One more check for everything. Let's make sure no one's on short final. All right, we're good there. Let's line up. Taxi light is off. Landing light is on for departure. Get lined up. All right, let's go full throttle. Heading is good. Engine gauges are in the green. Airspeed's alive. Rotate at 55. We're going to climb out at 70. We're definitely leaving the ground. Alright, let's make this left downwind departure, which doesn't make a whole hell of a lot of sense considering there is a runway on our left, but, you know, part of doing the simulator is following air traffic control's commands, and I'm assuming that they know that there's no traffic departing. So we're turning crosswind. Let's level off. There we go. There's the airport. Beautiful airport. Nice Montgomery Gibbs. And we're still climbing. The traffic pattern here is 1,400 feet, so we're almost there. We can go ahead and turn downwind. Downwind. we're going to go ahead and climb to our cruise, and we're going to try to leave their airspace vertically. So we're going to continue our climb. We're going really fast. I shouldn't have leveled off there. All right, we're climbing. You're going to get some trim wheel in this, so I don't have to pull back so hard. So right in front of us is a visual landmark, Mount Helix. Now remember I said we're climbing to Cowles Mountain. You can look at the GPS and see that we're significantly off course, but that's because we are following their instructions, staying in the downwind. We're on what you would call a very extended downwind right now. And they gave us clearance to exit from the downwind, so I'm going to assume that we are exiting the downwind, and now that we are clear of their airspace, right about now, we can resume own navigation. So I'm going to turn towards my course that we can see here on the map, and rejoin the magenta line and fly over Cowles Mountain. So right now, looking at that visual landmark, we can see we're right over, I think it's a stadium or something. Must be that, or I think that's SDSU. We can see Playos. Yeah, the stadium, if you look at the map, is down there. So cool, that visual landmark checks out. We're gonna head directly to Cowles Mountain. Oop. We're actually already got to our cruising altitude. That was fast. In real life, the plane up and flying takes a lot longer to get to cruising altitude. It's not quite as efficient as this perfectly brand new plane in the flight simulator. All right, so that mountain right off of our nose, about 11 o'clock, should be Cowles Mountain. So we're right on course. And if you look just past Cowles Mountain, you can see Gillespie out there. And their airspace is at 2,400 feet is the ceiling of their controlled airspace. So as long as we stay above that, we are all good. So I guess it is time for us to do our cruise checklist, because we are at cruising altitude. So cruise checklist, power to about 2,100 RPM. So there we go. We'll check. Mixture will lean. Oop, right there, the engine started to get a little rough, so we'll call that lean. Our fuel is good, and we'll check our heading indicator, and it looks good. All right. And now we'll go ahead and trim for this airspeed. So we're climbing a little bit. We need to climb a little bit, actually. So there we go. About 3,500 feet. Looking good. Gillespie's right in front of us. You can see it right down there. Some traffic above us. Yep, you can see him up there. What's going on with my trim wheel? There we go. Drop quite a few feet there. Sorry, I'm trying to get this trim wheel figured out. It's not exactly the most responsive. Alright, I think we're all trimmed out now. Holding more or less 3,500 feet. Flying right over Gillespie. And we're going to head for Lake Jennings, which we can see directly in front of us. Look, it's you and me. Oh, this is really cool. Gillespie Field actually has that in real life, written on the field. It's a really cool airfield. Really, really good restaurant, I'm told, on the field too. I've flown in many times, but never actually stopped for a sandwich. Oh, what's really cool is that blue building is actually there in real life. You can use it for when you're turning downwind to base. When you're landing there, it really helps. And then pretty much right where that little mountain is with that big house on it is going to be, just to your right when you're on your base before you turn final. Let's see if I can look behind me and see. Yep. Oh well. Pretty cool. All right. So the next thing we are looking for is Lake Jennings. We're pretty trimmed out here, and we're drifting a little high, so I'm gonna reduce power. So power, pitch for airspeed, power for altitude, and we're gonna aim for Lake Jennings. Looks like we'll intercept it. It's right ahead.
Gillespie ground, Skyline 898, Tango Sierra, parked by the tower, east departure with X-ray. We're 898 Tango Sierra, Gillespie ground, runway 27 right, taxi via Delta, cross runway 17 at Delta. 27 right, Delta, cross 17 at Delta, 898 Tango Sierra.
So as mentioned, we just want to make sure that we stay under the Bravo right here, which is way up at 4,800 feet. So we have about 1,200 feet above us that we can climb if we need to. And then now that we're leaving Gillespie Airfield, it's the airspace, we don't have to worry about it too much below us. We can see once we pass that dotted line, that's exiting Gillespie's airspace.
Charlie Clarence, 6262 Romeo IFR to Burbank.
River 6262 Romeo, John Wayne Clarence, clear to the Burbank Airport, fly heading 220, radar vector Seal Beach, and as filed, maintain 2000 to expect 4000 10 minutes after departure. Departure frequency 128.1, squawk 6100.
Clear the Burbank Airport, 220 on departure, radar vector Seal Beach, then as filed, 2000, 4010. 28.1, squawk 6100, 6262 Romeo.
So we're going to go ahead and get the ATIS.
Number 60 Romeo, you're back, correct.
You go and get the ATIS from Ramona. So that's 13.
Los Angeles clearance.
2.025.
Bravo Echo.
So we're setting it up down
Request
here.
flight following to San Diego at 5,500 for the Cat 11 with information to the.
Server 122 Bravo Echo, Los Angeles clearance, cleared out of Los Angeles class Bravo airspace. Fly runway heading, make a left crossing departure at the shoreline, then exit the class Bravo airspace. Maintain VFR at 2,500, departure frequency 125.2, squawk 6473.
So we'll switch to the comms 2.
Cleared out of the Bravo, runway heading, left crosswind at the shoreline, at about 2,500, squawk 6473, November 122 Bravo. Number 2 Bravo Echo departure is 134.9er, maintain VFR at 2,500. departure frequency 134.9 at 2,500, November 122 Bravo Echo.
All right.
2 Bravo Echo, we're back, correct.
So we have information Charlie, and we are at 29902. So we are all good there, and we can go ahead and get Ramona's tower and ground queued up. So tower is going to be 119.875. Going the wrong way. 119. .875, and then we'll go and get ground, and ground was 121.
Coming ground, Diamond 6060 Romeo, Sierra, Clay Lacey, ready taxi off our departure.
121.
6060 Romeo, John Wayne, ground, runway 20, right taxi at Bravo Kilo.
All right, so on top we
20,
have
taxi Bravo Kilo.
tower and ground ready for Ramona. So we should be flying directly over the
Velocity Towers, 98908, Tango Sierra, holding short 27 right, ready to go.
All right, there's the casino, and we can see over there is San Vicente Island.
27 right, clear for now, proceed on course.
As long as San Vicente Island's to our left, we know that we're clear of the Bravo, and we can confirm that by looking over here. You see it's way over there. So all right, we need to go ahead and contact Ramona and get clearance to land. So
Los Angeles ground, Cessna November 122 Bravo Echo, parked at signature, ready to taxi.
122 Bravo Echo, LA ground, squawk your sign code.
Roger.
sorry, I'm just waiting on them to clear up some of the
122 Bravo Echo, thank you. Runway 25 left taxi Alpha Foxtrot.
Runway 25 left taxi via Alpha Foxtrot. November 122 Bravo Echo.
Alright, Ramona Tower, Cessna 733 Yankee Victor with information Zulu 3,700 to the southeast, requesting full stop, 3 Yankee Victor.
Or 733 Yankee Victor, Ramona Tower, enter left base runway 27, runway 27, clear to land.
Enter left base runway 27, clear to land, runway 27, 3 Yankee Victor. Alright, so let's go ahead and start descending. And we're going to enter left base for runway 27.
Runway Tower, Diamond 6060.
So, alright, fuel selector is on both. We're good there. Landing lights coming on.
Kilo, clear for takeoff.
Let's do carb heat. We'll reduce the power to about 1700 and just start our descent. And we're going to enter a left downwind for runway 27. And cheat and look at the airport. Alright, we can see it out there. It's that little group of white buildings lined up right in front of us. Right about now. So, we're going to head that way. Keep descending. Remember their traffic pattern altitude is about 2,400. So we got a little bit of altitude to bleed off. We're ascending at a good rate. I think we need to pitch nose down a little bit. And we also need to go full mixture because we are landing. I should have done that earlier, but
Number 6, Romeo, contact departure.
better late than never, I suppose. Alright, so if we're going to enter a left downwind, we need to make a pretty sharp turn. So I'd say we probably need to go ahead and start turning right about now. We're also at their traffic pattern altitude. So we're just going to make this a very far out downwind. Very obtuse 45-degree angle.
Los Angeles Tower, Cessna November 122 Bravo Echo, holding short, runway 25 left.
Only 2 logs were super far out.
122 Bravo Echo Tower, runway 25 left, clear for takeoff.
But we're beamed the runway.
Clear for takeoff 25 left, November 122 Bravo Echo.
So we can go ahead and reduce power. I'll keep it at about 16.
Yuma ground, experimental 813 Lima Charlie at Millionaire, taxi for close traffic with Zulu.
Alright, we're turning base.
813 Lima Charlie, Yuma ground, runway runway 35, taxi via Zulu 3, back taxi, runway 35.
Alright, 20 degrees
taxi
of
via
flux.
Zulu 3, back taxi for runway 35, on runway 35, November 813 Lima Charlie.
Just a little high. Alright, turning final. Alright, I'm going to try to touch down the numbers, or aim for the numbers, touchdown by the captain's bars. We got some Vassies here. They're telling us we're a little high. Also, online, I thought I was better lined up than that. Alright, that's looking a little better. Still not really lined up as much as I'd like. A little rudder. Aim for the numbers. Power idle. Transition down the runway. Hold it back. Oh, floating a little bit. And touchdown. Right on the captain bars. Right where I wanted. Even if it wasn't that pretty. Alright, we'll get off the runway. Oh.
We're 733 Yankee Victor, taxi to parking via Alpha, monitor ground.
Taxi via Alpha, monitor ground, 3 Yankee Victor. Alright, so we'll switch over to ground and we'll taxi via Alpha. Remember, this whole runway here is Alpha. Also get our wings coming up, car beat back in. We'll come over here. And we did it. All right. So nice short little trip over to Ramona. Landing lights off, taxi lights on. Skirt. All right, cool. We did it. Thanks for joining me today on this quick little flight to Ramona, and we'll see you next time.
Leaving class Bravo Airspace, contact departure.
Power up.
Leaving Bravo Airspace, contact departure, 2 Bravo Echo.